Hello and welcome to Billy Ho Sports. This week's racing spotlights my home track. Churchill Downs Fall Meet opens up Thursday night with Twilight Racing. We're going to be having big doings this weekend. Saturday is a big day. The early preview for the 2025 Derby Trail begins as the youngsters set to run the Grade 3 Iroquois Stakes. There are also four other, I believe, stakes races. Great day of handicapping. So if you subscribe to the channel and you watch my videos, you probably know that I do live in Louisville. I'm quite familiar with Churchill Downs. I'm hoping to continue my good fortune from the past summer when I just crushed it at Stephen Foster Day with 6 winners in the first 8 races. So I like to thank everybody for joining me today and ask that you do subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the great content. Smashing that like is always a great way. Share on social media too. If you're on Instagram, Twitter, whatever, Facebook, tell your friends on Facebook about Billy Ho Sports. If you don't mind, I'd really appreciate that. Doesn't cost you anything, means a lot to me. So if you have any questions, hot takes, suggestions, anything like that, leave them in the comments section and let's get this thing started. Okay, we're going to profile the field of 12 2-year-olds going 8 furlongs, 1 mile on the dirt coming out of the chute. So it's a 1-turn mile race. Purse of 300,000, obviously 2-year-olds. First Resort is post number 1, trained by Ewan Hardy, I guess is how that's pronounced. I always have a hard time with that one. Ian, probably. Rafi Barriano rides. Uncle Mo Sires was second in the Saratoga Special after breaking his maiden first time out. Set the pace in hand in the Saratoga Special. Kept running, was pretty much blown by Showcase, but Showcase is not in this race. So I think a pretty solid contender and could offer some value. So stick around for the actual selections coming up in just a bit. Post number 2 is Gio Corso, and that's trained by Keith DeSormo. James Graham will ride by Not This Time, and there is several Not This Time progeny in this race. Old boy was busy in the this season, getting his groove on. He broke his maiden by 6 lengths at Ellis Park August 5th, going 8.5 furlongs on the turf. Then made short work of the field. He was even money chalk that day, so nice job by him. Jack's Time is number 3. That's Kelly Von Himmel, and Brian Hernandez is the jockey. He scored an eye-popping 10-length victory in his first race, 5.5 furlongs at Prairie Meadows. Next up, Authentic Strike. You guessed it, sired by Kentucky Derby winner Authentic. Trained by Rob Brissett, and Luis Saez will be the jockey. Held on in his debut by Justin Neck, going 7 furlongs on the dirt at Ellis Park. Some pretty good stats by Brissett, 20% trainer, first time at a route. Was heavily bet in the debut, so could have some interest there. We'll have to see. $450K at auction. Number 5, probably going to be one of our top contenders. And while I may not show all the race replays of each race of these 12 horses, trust that I'm watching each of them multiple times to try to glean what I can from them. It's really a great handicapping tool that I highly recommend if you're that deep into capping. You're definitely going to see this race as a whole because it has 2 of the top contenders going head to head down the stretch in the Ellis Park Juvenile Stakes. Owen Almighty gets the win. Owen Almighty is by Spatestown and trained by Brian Lynch. Irad Ortiz aboard. Won his first breaking maiden here, despite bobbling at the start, and then came wheels back with another 87, extending out to 7 furlongs, like I said, in this juvenile, defeating Politically Correct. and we'll talk about that race a little bit more as we go, because uh, despite that bobble at the start, he got out well, went 4 wide, then 3 wide, then took on politically correct down the stretch, drawing away from him late. So going to be one of your top contenders, obviously first in prime power. Next up is Strumman, and that's trained by John Hancock and Christian Torres. Strumman is by Flameway, is trained by John Hancock and ridden by jockey Chris Torres. Hancock took the turf to dirt angle to get this colt up for the maiden win, going 8 furlongs at Ellis Park. Was actually really close down here in the Kentucky Juvenile back in May, the Thursday before Derby. That would be Thurby, with Victor LeBron riding all those early mounts. So pretty good work by him. And then obviously the turf did its job preparing him for the maiden breaker, but didn't really take to the turf. And I don't think that was the goal. I think it was just kind of a fitness thing, in my opinion, anyway. So next up is the Sandman. Mark Casse trains this Tappet progeny. Earned a 90 speed figure going 7 furlongs at the Spa, Saratoga, on August 10th. Very good looking gray, sold for a whopping $1.2 million at auction. And he began earning his keep by defeating the favorite Innovator to break his maiden. Innovator actually wheeled back. I always like to go look and see how these horses did, whether if they were like a kind of a, I wouldn't call them a fraudulent favorite, but if they were a legit favorite. And I think he was, because he wheeled back and ran in the grade 2 Hopeful. He ran 5th in that race. You remember just recently we saw Chancer McPatrick win the race, and they had Ferocious and all them big time 2-year-olds in there. And he had a really horrible trip. He got banged around out of the gate and just, but still managed to get that 5th place. He's got Jose. So back over to actually Sandman, Jose Ortiz. One of my favorites is riding. So that's the Sandman. And then we go with number 8, Magnitude. And that's Pop. Magnitude is by Not This Time, trained by Steve Asmussen and Tyler Gaffleone. Will get the mount. Wire to wire in the maiden, wire to wire in his maiden victory after a somewhat auspicious start in the maiden 120. Right here, only getting 69. Just didn't get there. Out kicked late. 5.5 furlongs. It just, sometimes maiden 120K, so they drop him down to 71. But the big improvement is what I liked. The speed figures improved remarkably going down the stretch at the added distance. Not This Time, like I said, has many progeny in this race. Steve Asmussen, always just the volume trainer of all trainers, and really good with 2-year-olds. So Magnitude I have interest in. Next up is Firmus, and that's trained by Wayne Catalano and Ricardo Santana rides. This is by Curlin, and 1-for-1 breaking his maiden at Ellis, going 6 furlongs, rated well off the pace, made a 4-wide sweeping move into the stretch, and closed well to win the race. So this could be an interesting horse for like exotics or whatever, because I don't like it for the win, but we'll get to that. Number 10, Jonathan's Way, is by Vacoma, trained by Philip Bauer, Joel Rosario aboard. Broke his maiden, similar to the way Firmus did, with a stalking trip and a big sweeping 4-wide move to the outside. And he ran off by 4.25 lengths in the maiden 100K race. Philip Bauer. And so some solid sires, Vacoma, in this field. You can always tell by, you look at the sire production index, and if you remember by previous videos, 1.0 is like the national average. So a lot of these have 2.33, 2.5. Obviously the Not This Time has got a ton of them in here, and he's 2.33, which is Macero. The next up for Dale Romans, Corey Lannery rides. 79 speed figure in his maiden breaking debut in the mud at Ellis Park. I don't think I'm going to have, as much as I like Dale Romans as a local trainer, not really going to have a whole lot of interest in this one. Next up is the 12 horse rounding out the field, politically correct. And that's Chris Davis trainer, Florent Giroux rides, and has some good stakes experience. We saw the battle with Owen Almighty, and it looked to me like, and was my take, when they hit the stretch, they went heads up, and Saez backed off. I think he was going to lose the race, so the margin wasn't relevant to me. You know, you could say, oh well, how good Owen Almighty drew off away. He blew him out in the stretch. Well, I don't know about that. I think it was more like conceding the victory and live to fight another day kind of thing. Previously to that, though, this is the race we're showing, the Bashford Manor at Churchill Downs. On this track, he has 2 wins. June 30th, impressive effort. Got off to a very slow very slow start out of the gate. Then had to track the pace and slowly gaining ground the whole way. So that usually tends to make a horse have to burn a lot. I mean, obviously you spot the field however many lengths coming out of the gate on a slow start. You really got a motor to get back in it. Launched a 6 wide bid into the stretch and rolled home to victory in that by 5 lengths. So you can see his 12th in the beginning coming out of the gate slowly. And then he was by the second call in 4th, only 2 lengths off. So pretty impressive effort. And then pretty even keel effort in the next one at Ellis. But maybe he likes the Churchill Downs surface better. So we'll have to see about that. So that's your 12 contenders. Hopefully we don't have too many scratches. So let's round this out, put a bow on it, and make some selections. Okay, to put a bow on it, like I said, 2-year-olds, pretty tough to handicap. You never know. They're so unpredictable. They're so young, energetic. So I'll start with a few I think you can get good value on in the race. I think number 1, First Resort. 2 strong outings, Godolphin Racing and Inside Post are all pretty good things for Churchill Downs. Very good early speed. He showed the best early speed, I think, of all the other horses. Plenty of front runners in this. He had a 103 second call pace in on the Brisnet figures, so which is very good. So I think good speed in the Saratoga Special should have him on or near the lead. The next one that had my interest was a Magnitude from Steve Asmussen's barn. If he can make a jump like he did from the 69 to like the 80, I forget what the second figure was, but a big leap like that from race 1 to race 2, he could be of use underneath. And then obviously you have horses like Owen Almighty and Politically Correct were ranked 1-2 in the prime power on the past performances. They should take on some money and they'll also be in the mix. But I'm looking at Sandman. Mark Casse is 4 for 5, 80% win rate, and a whopping $5.32 return on investment in route races at Churchill Downs over the last 90 days, which was the end of the summer or spring meet. So also finished in the money 7 times. Number 7, Sandman on top for me. And then the others mentioned underneath for exactas and trifectas. So that'll cover the preview for the Iroquois. And like I said, 4 other stakes races. I think there's some big Breeders' Cup Challenge Series races at Woodbine this weekend. So I'm going to try to take a look at those. So lots to come this week. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that like button, share on social media. And until next time, we'll see you soon.